Yeah, much more. I think of sunsetting in the context of particular members, not so much as the entity of an advisory board. I think the gift of the advisory board is something that I wouldn't want to terminate. But certainly the membership, it makes sense that it would evolve because as people, entrepreneurs evolve as humans, as well the particular business and its challenges and its opportunities evolve and its maturation developmentally evolve. So I think when recruiting, I think it's important for the entrepreneur to set expectations that it's not a lifetime tenure and that putting some bookends on the length of time that you're expecting. I think it also works both ways. For the advisor, it's also not a lifelong commitment. So I think having a conversation of 1 or 2 years is the expectation, and it'll be revisited in a conversation about whether it's working and whether it needs to change. And on both ends, it's mutual commitment on both parties that results in it continuing or that it comes to a nice end.
2 of the board members, I think, were ready to move in another direction, and our board is ready to move in another direction as well, in helping in different ways. And so we've had 2 board members graduate. I think it's it's certainly a conversation that I had privately with the board members, and allowed them to talk about what was working for them and what wasn't, and then really, talking about. Then we got to talk about, okay, well, what's the next step for the board, and how do I fit into that process, or do I want to fit into that next step?
Ultimately, the choice, I wouldn't make and seek to influence the choice of the advisor. I think that's critical that the entrepreneur own the makeup of their advisory board and have 100% belief in and commitment to those members and the selection of them. So I'd love to support the process, but all along the way, the decisions and the hard job is for the entrepreneur.
You don't need to just look to these advisors to ask broad, big picture, soul searching questions. You can ask very targeted questions, for help in a certain thing, or for a connection to a certain person, or to a certain, field of expertise that you're looking for.
So one of the really interesting things about this group is because there's somebody from these different positions within the sales and marketing chain of our business, it's been really fun to see them talk to each other, right? So the distribution guy has one perspective, the sales guy has another perspective, the online marketing person has another perspective, and they each look at it differently, and they've learned a lot from each other, and it's been really interesting for me to hear that conversation as well as their thoughts about what I should do, because they certainly don't always have the same perspective.
The essence of the advisory board is how it functions when it meets and covers the important business of the day, and not about how those individual members represent or be ambassadors for that business. That's a secondary function. The primary is how those individual advisors contribute to the entrepreneur's thinking and decision making and to the collective wisdom of that group.